a very warm welcome to the Gama Innovation Conference and Awards 2023. So I'm going to be going through my annual whistle-stop tour of key innovation trends in FMCG. And as usual, before I dive in, and primarily for the benefit of those who don't know us too well, let me just remind you very quickly who we are at Gama and what we do. So Gama is an insights and international trade business specializing in fast-moving consumer goods. And ultimately, our aim is to inspire you to innovate successfully and help you make new connections, which is why we're here today. We do that firstly through our Gama Compass service, which brings together insights on innovation from all around the world so you know what's coming next and can make better decisions. And then, as Cesar has mentioned, we also have our Meet the Buyer and Meet the Investor programs, which are all about helping suppliers connect with new commercial and investment opportunities all around the world. And if you'd like to know more about what we do, then we've got a stand upstairs, or please do just speak to me at any point during today. So as every year, I'm going to be looking at 5 key trends impacting FMCG right now. And this year, I'm going to begin with a look at the impact of a maturing plant-based category on NPD. After that, I'll be running the rule over the burgeoning food as medicine category, before exploring how confectionery is getting healthy, and finally bringing you up to speed with the latest packaging and sustainability developments. I wanted to start by talking a little bit about where we are with the vegan/plant-based trend, which I know we've been covering already a little bit today. And anyone who's followed these presentations over the years will know there was a familiar pattern with these things, namely an initial spike of interest followed by saturation and then rationalization. And this really feels like where we are right now with vegan and plant-based, where maybe we've hit a bit of a ceiling. You can see this from this graph of product claims here. There remain key challenges, especially around taste and price and persuading a mass market audience to make the switch from meat and dairy to plant-based. And what I wanted to talk about is where innovation is going in response. And I would say we're seeing 2 clearly diverging pathways. One, which I'll come on to next, is more technology-driven, and another which is all about celebrating the virtues of vegetables and pulses as clean, natural ingredients. And just to illustrate this further, let me add a few more lines to this graph. We've got vegetarian in the mid-green, vegan in the dark green, and plant-based in the light green. And to me, the main takeout here is the way plant-based is now overtaking vegetarian as a product claim. Now, why that might be, in my view, it's because plant-based makes animal-free products sound like a positive, affirmative choice, rather than perhaps like vegetarian, more of a dietary sacrifice in the interests of ethics or health. So let me just give you a few examples of this hero vegetable approach. This is a product called Veg Block. It claims to be a plant-based product that is chock full of plants with no exotic processes. While this product, which is solely green banana pasta, is minimally processed and claims to be organic fruit and nothing else. Other vegetable-forward launches focus more on flavour. So umami stocks, for instance, they claim to create brand new gourmet tastes that rival meat, but from plant-based ingredients. While Lentiful instant lentils use pulses as hero ingredients for a tasty plant-based lunch or breakfast. And research that we've done previously shows that plant-based claims correlate very strongly with lifestyle claims such as no gluten, no genetic modification, and no dairy. And it seems to me the hero vegetable approach is really all about appealing to the consumers who value these kind of clean eating benefits above many other things, including even ethical considerations. Turning then to the second of these 2 divergent approaches to animal-free, and that is the idea of actively trying to mimic meat and dairy products using other ingredients. And I wanted to start with a cautionary tale, really. You may have heard of a meat analogue firm called Beyond Meat. Beyond Meat was listed at the height of the vegan craze to great fanfare, but has since seen its share price plummet by about 90%. And as this headline here rather pithily puts it, the core problem is the product. And I think as we can all agree that as problem scale, that's kind of a biggie. And ultimately, that is the point. If you're trying to pitch animal-free products, especially to the avowed carnivores out there, then experience becomes everything. It has to be as good as the products you're trying to replace, and exactly how you get there may be secondary. Here are just a couple of examples on this theme. This is a product called This, a brand called This, which promotes an olive oil-based technology that is said to give the succulence that plant-based food often misses. And similarly, Miyoko's Creamery liquid mozzarella worries less about ingredients and focuses instead on the desired end result, delicious meltiness. One other area of innovation that is finally getting some traction is cultured and other cell-based products, which has undoubtedly faced some obstacles to adoption up to now, not least cost, scale of production and regulation. Interestingly, though, the US has recently broken down one of these barriers with the approval of cultured meat as a consumer product, and if reports are to be believed, the UK may be heading towards a similar decision. And apparently in response, there's a company called Upside Foods. They're building a cultured meat factory that on completion will have production capacity of over 10 million kilos. And as a final note, I think it's worth remembering that cell-based products are not just about meat. There's a company called Cult Food Science. They apparently have both cell-based confectionery and cell-based coffee in the works, the latter offering all the benefits of coffee without the deforestation. And I think cell-based food and drink is definitely going to be a technology to watch over the coming years. I'm going to turn now to a couple of segments on functional trends. In a moment, looking at the movement to give confectionery a healthy spin, but first taking a look at how the concept of food as medicine is really beginning to gather some momentum. And much of this appears to go back to trends born, at least in part, out of the COVID-19 pandemic, where immune health and self-care were key consumer concerns. And I mentioned at the time that while the focus on immunity may prove relatively short-term, the broader trend for whole body preventative health and well-being is likely to remain relevant. And I think it's fair to say that this has held true. The subtle shift we've seen since 2020, however, is supporting cognitive function, in particular aiding sleep, promoting relaxation, and reducing stress and anxiety. And you can see this quite clearly here in this graph, which shows the proportion of launches that we've reported that tout these kind of benefits. And here are just a couple of these examples on this theme in drinks, where one word particularly capturing the imagination is nootropics. This is Go Mate Yerba Mate drink. It comes in relaxed and awake and is claimed to be based on a range of natural botanicals. And this product is Nooks. It's a nootropic drink that claims to use vitamins, minerals, and other nootropics for mind-boosting effects. And food brands also getting in on the act. This is Smarter Naturally vegetable soup. It's said to naturally contain very high levels of glucoraphanin for benefits such as lower cholesterol, heart health, and brain function. And if you fancy a bowl of cereal before bedtime, then Sweet Dreams has you covered. It claims to be the first breakfast cereal specifically designed to support a good sleep routine. And this all suggests that the self-care and food as medicine concept is likely to remain relevant in consumer goods over the coming years. And I think there's further scope for brands to innovate in this area. Moving on then to look at the second of today's functional trends, I want to spend a few minutes talking about confectionery, most notably efforts to reposition sweets as real, natural, and even functional through the use of ingredients like fruit, grain, seeds, spices, herbs, and sugar alternatives, and particularly how brands are making this alternative confectionery just as tempting and indulgent as conventional sweets. I want to start with a couple of examples of brands spotlighting real fruit. So in the US, for instance, Morinaga has launched High Chew Infusions. These are chewy sweets that include infused apple puree and pieces of pectin jelly for extra juiciness and true-to-life flavors. Meanwhile, Fancy by Nature is honey-fermented fruit that is said to combine taste and health benefits with ethically positive ingredients. The second emerging trend we're seeing in sugar confectionery is a shift towards real spices, especially in Asian markets. So here are a couple of interesting examples. Firstly, Tic Tac seeds, which as the name suggests, are mints filled with crushed spices, specifically fennel and cardamom. And these new mints from the Haldi brand in Singapore are distinctive for their use of turmeric to provide, as the brand puts it, a balance of health and flavour. Finally, in this section, just a quick word on ingredients that can deliver the same sweet hit of table sugar without the perceived negative impacts. So Too Good Kids candy floss, for instance, is made from chicory fibre, and it boasts the same melt-in-the-mouth texture as regular candy floss, but with 90% less sugar. And another ingredient that appears to be on the up is honey, as demonstrated by Rebel Bee candies. These tout honey's antibacterial, antiviral, and anti-inflammatory properties. And as with the food as medicine trend before, this type of innovation shows that there remains keen demand among consumers for products that can offer something in the way of health, well-being and authenticity, no matter what the category. So to finish today, here is my now somewhat customary roundup of developments in sustainability, and particularly the 4 main strategies companies are taking to address sustainability in packaging, namely reducing material use, improving recyclability, switching from plastic to other materials, and finally, in some categories, eliminating internal packaging entirely. And here are a couple of examples. Firstly, on the reduce and recycle theme. This is a pouch for the Pompot Fruit Puree brand range in France. It's made from a monomaterial polyethylene for ease of recycling. It's similar, in fact, to another pack we saw last year that was being used for instant coffee. And meanwhile, thinking of packaging reduction, this is Bonterre, also in France, introducing the idea of concentration to milk alternatives, resulting in less packaging and lower transport impacts. Next, to have a quick look at the switch from plastic to board, which you can see on this graph here. You might not be able to see very clearly, but the rigid plastic is in the light purple. And this transition that we're seeing to paper and board is being made possible by advances in material and packaging technology that are promoting sustainability and reducing the need for plastic in many settings. So take V-gum, for instance. This is a biodegradable chewing gum that comes in biodegradable packaging. Meanwhile, P&G's new EcoClick laundry detergent pack addresses another form of obstacle to board packaging, namely security. This is a cardboard box that is actually child safe. And this seems like a real step change, illustrating that almost all the common barriers to board and paper packaging, whether that be security, rigidity, barrier protection or shelf life, are gradually being overcome. I wanted to finish with just a couple of examples that demonstrate the ultimate in packaging sustainability, which is to get rid of the packaging entirely. So Soupology Super Cubes, for instance, exactly as the name supplies, they comprise frozen cubes of soup. While Land O'Lakes Butterballs are a similar idea, they both come in a format that allows for easy dosing without the need for extra packaging. And with all these changes taking place, packaging continues to be a very dynamic space, and innovations of this kind really help the industry address both regulatory demand and evolving consumer attitudes. So I'm going to wrap up here. I do hope, as ever, this has given you a little bit of food for thought. If there's any of these topics, or anything else you'd like to discuss in more detail, do just let me know. Thank you very much.